Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the In the Pocket podcast. I'm Max Sturm, joined alongside Logan Martin and Xander Cook. Guys, how was your week? Week 2 of football, but also just generally, how's everything going, guys?
Pretty good, pretty good. How about yourself?
Yeah, good, good. Xander, you were over at my house for the week 2 slate of games, so there's a lot to talk about, as you know, through week 2 and going into week 3. A lot of teams that we thought maybe had a good chance at making the playoffs or making a run, kind of looking like they might not, and some teams that are surprising us as well. And we're going to dive into all of that today. And I think it's only right that we get started with Thursday night, which was the Commanders at the Packers. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm a little bit disappointed in the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels in this game. Jaden Daniels did throw for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, but so far this year, it seems like he's a little bit under where he left off last year. Again, he's a sophomore player, so you expect he's going to have to build up back to where he was at. But just this Commanders team as a whole, the win over the Giants was not overly impressive, the way that we thought it might have been. But really, I think this game says more about the Packers, considering their week 1 win over the Lions as well. Jordan Love, the guy that I did not know where I stood with him, throws for just about 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and again spreads the ball so well. But how about Tucker Kraft coming in with 124 yards and a touchdown? Big day from him and big day for the Packers overall. They look like one of the best teams in the NFL.
Yeah, they do. I mean, you said it yourself. They're just so good on both sides of the ball, really. I mean, their offense is phenomenal. Jordan Love is having a hot start to the season. He's spreading the wealth, whether it's to Jaden Reed, who's obviously out with that collarbone injury, or Tucker Kraft or Golden. He could spread it to whoever he needs. And these aren't elite receivers by any means, but they're decent enough to catch the ball and get some yak. And then you also have Josh Jacobs, who's that bruiser back. He can get whatever yardage Green Bay needs. Their O line is giving him the spacing he needs to shoot through those holes. So that offense is looking really, really good off the rip. How long they can sustain that, I don't know, but they're looking good. And then you look at the defensive side of the ball. I mean, oh my God, have they looked unbelievable. That addition of Micah Parsons has completely revamped this defense into arguably top three in the league. I mean, they shut down Detroit's high lethal offense to just 13 points, and they only one touchdown, and it was a garbage time touchdown, I believe. And then they held Washington to 18 points, and it was pretty much 10 points until the final three-ish minutes. So that Green Bay team, I know I said in a previous video, Super Bowl window is 3 years from now. I'm saying Super Bowl window is this year. If
They
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 keep up this
they
level of
do.
success, they are, in my opinion, the best team in the NFC right now.
Yeah, without a doubt, have been the most impressive for sure. Logan, we talked about how young this team is. They are the youngest team in the league. Uh, I would like to hear if you're more impressed with the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball, and then obviously throw in your opinions on the game generally as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely impressed with the defensive side of the ball. There's a lot of questions with the offensive side of the ball. I know they're performing well, um, but let's be real. The star of this team right now is the defense, and Micah Parsons coming to Green Bay unlocked that Super Bowl potential for Green Bay, something that they've been falling short of in the past few years. You know, Micah Parsons said the other day that he can't remember the last time he hasn't played with an All-Pro corner. So think about what his pass rush does for the cornerbacks and the players around him on that defense. And then let's go to the offensive side of the ball. I'm worried about them. Jane Reed, he's injured. Tucker Kraft, he balled out 6 receptions, 124 yards and a touchdown. But I'm looking at these receivers like Dontavian Wicks is a premier blocking receiver for the Packers. Really isn't a threat in the pass game, but he was against Washington. Maybe that says something against Washington's defense, or maybe that says something against or something about Wicks and what he's able to do. But I have concerns about who's going to step up at the receiver position. It should be Dobbs, and my next guy is Reed, and obviously with a broken collarbone, that's not going to be him. So. Who's going to step up? I don't know, but Josh Jacobs, he's lethal. So
Mhm.
they definitely have Super Bowl potential. And we just watched regression bite Washington in the butt, and this upcoming schedule isn't easy. It's definitely not easy in 2025, but this is an easy schedule in 2020. You got the Raiders, Atlanta, Chargers, and the Bears. In 2020, like I said, we'd be thinking about that as a cupcake schedule, but that's no easy schedule this year. So
Yeah, so you bring up a
regression's
really
biting
good
them.
point with Jaden Reed undergoing that surgery for his collarbone. He's expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks. So luckily for the Packers, not out for the entire season, but that is a big, big chunk of the season that he will miss, and there will have to be guys that step up. And I do also think it'll be Romeo Dobbs. And look out for Tucker Kraft. I really feel like he can become a more involved part of this offense over the next few weeks. Moving on to the next game, if nobody has anything else to say, we're going to talk about the shootout that was the Giants and Cowboys, a 1 o'clock game that not many people figured they should turn into or tune into. Holy shit. I that was like
Wow.
this is in competition for game of the year alongside that Bills game. And honestly, this one's more impressive because it comes from two teams that I don't have big expectations for. I mean, if you just go and look at it, starting with the Giants to even be in this game is crazy for them. But Russell Wilson, who had a pretty bad performance in week one, comes out and goes 30 of 41 for 450 yards, 3 touchdowns, and unfortunately had that interception in overtime that ended up sealing the game and giving the Cowboys the chance to kick that one and win that one by 3. Again, score was 40-37. But man, we saw something out of that Giants team that I don't think any of us thought was possible. And then for the Cowboys, obviously they had a really good day too. Dak throws for 360, 2 touchdowns. Javonte Williams with almost 100 yards rushing. The defense for both of these teams looked pretty bad. Whenever you put up a team puts up near or at 40 points, you know that the defenses didn't play well. Um, but there's some bright spots on the offenses for both of these teams. Guys, I want to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, for both sides of the ball for both teams, it just completely flipped the switch from one week to the other. I mean, the Giants offense only scoring 6 points against Washington to 37 this week. And then Dallas, their offense only scoring 20 against Philly to 40 against the Giants this week. And then you look at the defenses, Giants held their own against Washington, only letting up 21 points, and then they give up 40. Dallas only letting up 24 points to a solid Eagles offense to giving up 37 to the Giants offense.
Mm.
It's just crazy how one week can make such a big difference. But I was shocked for both sides of the ball for both teams. I mean, I was expecting the Giants D line to really get to Dak and force him to make incompletions or turnovers, really make him struggle in the pocket. And we didn't see any of that this Sunday. And then for the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, you're playing the Giants. That should be a cakewalk defensively, but it wasn't. Um, and then how about Russ, dude, throwing for 450 yards? And I'm sitting on the couch thinking to myself, why the fuck couldn't he do that with us last year?
Right?
I mean, all you have is neighbors. How are you getting 450 yards? You had Pickens last
Yeah,
season.
well, you were saying that about Justin Fields last week too.
Yeah, I mean, what is going on, dude? And that to me, it just speaks volumes to how bad Pittsburgh's system is for quarterbacks.
Right.
You're doomed to fail from the start. So all my expectations for my team, they're out the window.
Yeah, and I think it should another thing we should mention in this game too is the Dallas Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey clutching up with that 64-yard field goal to send it to overtime initially and then to hit the game winner in overtime. I believe he that makes him the only player in NFL history to hit two
Mhm.
time expiring kicks in a single game.
I,
Insane.
I it
Brandon
also
Aubrey,
makes him the only NFL kicker in history to hit two 64-yard field goals. He's the only
yeah,
one to hit that
yeah.
twice.
Absolutely wild. Logan, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, man. You talk about the offensive line. I think Xander brought up a lot of good points. As exciting as it was to watch that New York Giants offense, the defense really let them down. You look at that defense, you look at the roster, especially the defensive side of the football, it's stacked. And coming into the season, we were hoping and kind of expecting the Giants defense would win them some games this year. You know, a couple,
Mm.
3 to 4 games would get them over their predicted win total for the 2025 season. But yeah, the offense was electric. The defense let them down. And then the Cowboys, the defense let them down too. This offense is electric. Brian Schottenheimer has this offense clicking on all cylinders. The passing attack is amazing. CD's getting open all over the place. You know, you look at the Giants defense, Paulson Adebo, the cornerback, has the most tackles, 11 tackles. You know what that means? They're throwing out of the football. They're throwing all over you. Want to know a fun fact? Dallas ran 2 plays on defensive man coverage. You know what that means? They're getting cooked in zone coverage.
Mhm.
Cooked. So we're
And
talking cover 3 where corners, you have safety
Are you
middle.
talking about Dallas or New York?
I'm talking about Dallas. Two
Yeah.
plays on defensive man coverage. So I'm talking cover 3. We got corners have those you split the field into thirds. Safety has the middle third, corners have the other thirds. And you can't let anything behind you, and you're getting cooked. You're letting Russell Wilson throw for 450 yards. You're literally like, I'm watching these Dallas corners catch the receivers, and
Mhm.
and then by the time they're out of, like, they flip their hips and they try to run with them, they're burnt. And you know, Neighbors is running all over them. You know, Wandell Robinson. Holy smokes, let's talk about him. He's been electric. He's all over the place. He cooked them. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's unfortunate they didn't get the win though. They played amazing. The Dallas pass rush is nothing. You know, trading Micah Parsons was the worst decision for the Dallas Cowboys. They can't get to the quarterback. And if they had Micah Parsons, I don't even think the Giants scores 37 points like
No, absolutely
against
not.
the
And
corners. So yeah.
The pass
when you
rush
when
was
you have when you have an offense that bad that's not expected to get you many wins this season, your defense in those scenarios where the offense is on their A game, the defense has to be on their A game too, because that's the only chance the Giants can win is if both sides of the ball are clicking. Because, yeah, I mean, the defense can maybe win a game or two, but that offense is not going to have that same level of success the rest of the year. I mean, this is probably going to be the best offensive showing out of the Giants season, and your defense completely shits the bed. I mean, what
Agreed.
are we doing, dude? Like, you're getting cooked in the passing game. Dak torched you for over 340 yards, spreading the wealth to CD, to Ferguson, to Pickens. And then you're getting run over by freaking Javonte Williams, scored a touchdown and had a good rushing day. What are you doing, dude? Makes no sense.
So, Logan, interesting that you bring up the corners for the Dallas Cowboys just getting cooked by Wandell Robinson and Malik Neighbors. That throw to Malik Neighbors at the what was so I honestly thought was going to be the end of the game. 37 seconds left, double coverage right in the breadbasket was a beautiful throw. I just wanna see if you guys know who was responsible for Mr. Neighbors.
Elam, and it was
Fucking Kyer Elam.
you can't even there's no excuse for that play. There's no excuse for
There
that
is no
play.
excuse. And you know, he's given up 230 yards so
Man.
far this season. 230.
He's
I,
so
Yeah, man.
he's fucking terrible.
Between Neighbors and Robinson, 17 receptions for 309 yards is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, just crazy. Yeah, very sad that they did not win that game. The other thing I wanted to bring up, just because it's fucking hilarious. How about James Hudson on the first drive of the game getting 4 penalties, that being 2 unnecessary roughness calls and 2 false starts, which negated over 100 yards of total offense on that drive for the Dallas or for the New York Giants. That play where he gets called for the unnecessary roughness,
Yeah, that
slapping
was
the kid in
crazy.
the head, is one of the funniest things I have ever
Hilarious.
seen in all of sports. I just like obviously he got benched after that and for good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
ridiculous.
it brings
You've
some
seen it
comedy.
before though, but like it wasn't that excessive. Like you
Dude,
didn't
no
see
one
like
like people will put
7'4"
hands up there,
wingspan,
but
open
people are
palm.
not.
But yeah,
But
we'll
just
move on.
yeah, just absolutely wild. Speaking of the Steelers, Xander, I know you're gonna hate talking about this one, but we got to talk about it because of what happened in this game. Seahawks come away with a 31-17 win in a game that really should have been closer. Sam Darnold goes out and has his first real good day as a Seattle Seahawk with just about 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did throw 2 interceptions, however, but Aaron Rodgers played worse, and I think that's kind of what it came down to, except for one play that we have never seen, and with these new kickoff rules, and we'll get to that. But Aaron Rodgers throws for 200 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. One of them, granted, was in the fourth quarter when he's just pressed for time and he's got to try and get the ball down the field. And threw it into coverage there.
Yeah.
But that game should have been closer. And Xander, I'm gonna let you take this one away because I think you, from a Steelers fan perspective, you know what needed to happen for them to be in this game.
Yeah, so I'm not faulting Rodgers at all. In fact, I don't think he even played bad. You look at the second interception, it's near the end of the game. Whatever. The first one was absolutely not his fault. In fact, that was supposed to be a touchdown to Freiermuth, and Calvin Austin jumped in front of it. He ended up tipping the ball, and it got picked off in the end zone. Mind you, that was right after a fucking 65-yard catch and run by Jalen Warren. So just completely fucked up all momentum on our side. So. And then Rodgers had an earlier play where he scrambled out to his right, threw it on the run a good 45, 50 yards right into the breadbasket of Pat Frymuth, and he drops it on the sideline. And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me?
Was
So,
that scramble to the right, the bootleg, and he just
yep.
throws on the run? That
Yeah.
was one of the most beautiful throws I've ever seen in my
At
Oh, yeah.
41 years
Yeah.
old,
I
mind
mean,
you.
and it's just a damn shame our receivers just suck and they're failing Rodgers. But what sucks worse than the receivers is the offensive line. Rodgers is 42 fucking years old. He's already like an 80-year-old man on the football field. He can't really scramble. He gets pressured. He's gonna get taken down. And our offensive line gives him maybe a second of breathing room, and then it just collapses on him. So that's super disappointing. I want to talk about our defense, specifically the defensive line. Last season, we were giving up, I want to say 160 to 180 rushing yards over the final 5 or 6 games. That's a big issue. And we got stomped by Derrick Henry in the playoffs. So now you're heading into the offseason. Okay, what's our biggest need? Well, defensive line's the biggest need. We're getting ran through every fucking game. And we go out, we get Derek Harmon with our first round pick. Obviously, he hasn't been playing because of the knee sprain. And then we get Darius Slay, we get Jalen Ramsey, we get Eichels, and we get Thornhill. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this defense has the potential to be top three. And first game, we get ran on for 200 yards by the Jets. And then this game against Seattle, it's 160, 180 rushing yards with Kenneth Walker running over 100 yards. It's the same problem as the end of last season. And I'm thinking to myself, what is being talked about in the locker room to not let that happen, you know? Like this is a big issue. What are we doing in practice to solve this issue? And it's clear as day. Nothing is being done in practice. Nothing is being done at during halftime to adjust. And it's just the classic Tomlin. He can't adjust for the life of him. He is an overrated coach, and I'm going to die on that hill. Oh, he has a winning record, blah 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 blah. He has great talent to get those wins. He has had a tremendous defense for over 5 years. In the 2010s, he had one of the best offenses in the league. Zero playoff wins, dude. Like you can't be considered a great or even good coach if you can't get those fucking playoff wins. And we're seeing the same fucking issues time and time again. You could predict the entire Steelers season. A, we're going to start off really hot and then go cold down the stretch, miss the playoffs and get bounced first round. Or B, start off really cold, get hot down the stretch, miss the playoffs, or get bounced first round. It's predictable every single time. The system's predictable. You can tell what defense we're running. You can tell what offensive play is going to be called. And it just falls on Tomlin time and time again. And that's what I saw against Seattle. It's a bunch of Tomlin issues, especially with that kick return that Max mentioned earlier. It was a 17-14 game. Mind you, why the fuck is our third round rookie running back who ran a 4.53 returning kicks? I don't know. He doesn't know the kickoff rules. Bounces in the landing zone, goes over his head. He doesn't chase after the ball. Seattle ends up recovering in the end zone for a touchdown. As a
Yeah.
coach, you're supposed to explain the fucking rules of the game. You have
Exactly.
your third round rookie running back returning those kicks, and he doesn't know the rules. That's on coaching. And it's just devastating to be a fan of this team when you have a
Yeah.
cheerleader as your head coach.
So you took everything that I was going to say to follow up, whether it be the offensive line, the defense, or that kick. Because honestly, that kickoff flunder was the turning point of that game.
Oh, it 100%
It
was.
truly was. And you're absolutely right. I don't agree with the new kickoff rules. I think they're stupid. I would love them
Really?
to go back. Yes, I would love them to go back to
Uh,
what they were previously and what college still runs. But
oh yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree.
yeah,
Go back to that. But like in terms of what the format of like you want to be safe and bringing them together, I like that. Like you force a return now. I like that part of it. But
sure. But I also hate that a touchback brings you out to the 35-yard line. That's stupid. But we'll
yeah,
get to
that's stupid as well because when you get to the 35-yard line, it's guaranteed field goal at least. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
especially for the high-powered offenses. That's a
It
discussion
is.
for
Yeah, I was literally. Yeah, I had that talk today. It literally. Yeah.
that's a discussion for another time. We definitely can go over it at some point. But the matter of fact is, you as a player in the National Football League being paid at least a minimum salary of $500,000 a year, and all these starters definitely getting more than that, need to know the rules of the game in and out. It doesn't matter if they're brand new rules. You go over that, and whether that falls on the player not paying attention or Mike Tomlin not making that clear, that you lost the game because of that. That play is the reason that you lost. Yes, the defense wasn't great. Yes, the offensive line was bad, but you were in that game until that play happened. Logan, take it away.
Yeah, man. This defense is disappointing. Um, it really is. Like you had the opportunity at home versus Seattle, home opener. Sam
Mhm.
Darnold had a terrible first game. Kenneth Walker is an overrated running back, and what happens? Sam Darnold throws 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, yeah, whatever, but he throws all over him. And then Kenneth Walker has 13 carries for over 100 yards. Like that's over 8 yards a carry on a Pittsburgh defense that coming into the season was just. I think everyone expected them to be a top 5 defense. You add
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey, you make the trade with Minka, and you kind of trust Tomlin um, that he's making the right decision. And it's kind of backfired. I still think Jalen Ramsey's a good cornerback, but I don't think that trade worked out for Pittsburgh. This defense is not playing well. So we'll see what it's like in week 3. Week 1 was very disappointing. Week 2 was a little better, but you were in prime position to get that win. So disappointing to be a Steelers fan, but I'm still hopeful though of that offense. I still like that offense. I like Aaron Rodgers. I like the weapons outside. DK 3 receptions for 20 yards. You can't have any excuses for that. That can't happen again. Um, but what I want to ask you, Xander, is Arthur Smith, and I'm tired of offensive coordinators, head coaches, defense coordinators, whatever it is, that are mediocre, have a subpar offense that they coach as an offensive coordinator. They get fired, or the head coach gets fired, so they get fired, or whatever, and they immediately get picked up. I'm tired of it. I want like new young coaches, innovative coaches like that have diverse, play sheets that isn't predictable. And I think a lot of
Mhm.
offensive play sheets nowadays, especially with not old school football, but like in the early 2000s there, like some like repetitive, boring offensive football that we've seen a lot of Rodgers have to, take part in the past few years. It's not going to work nowadays in the NFL. You have to have
No.
a dynamic run game, and you have to be able to throw the ball downfield and get 20 plus yards in the
Mhm.
pass game. That's just how it has to be in the NFL. It's how you have to be if you want to be a successful offense, especially with a defense that's playing this bad.
Yeah, 100%. And look, is it's more so I hate to bring it up, but I'm that guy and I'm tired of it. It's a Tomlin issue. Look who the fuck he's been hiring throughout his tenure, man. I mean, Arthur Smith, he's a mediocre play caller. Before him, Matt Canada, who was the worst offensive coordinator in the entire NFL. You could literally predict 10 plays in a row and be 100% correct which 10 plays are being called. He was that bad. Before him, it was Randy Fichtner, who is just a slightly worse version than Arthur Smith. And then before him, blanking on, oh, Todd Haley, who in the divisional round of a playoff game against the Jaguars calls a pitch to the left on a 4th and inches.
Yeah.
So that's just the kind of coaches that Tomlin hires. He hires coaches to protect his job security. Oh, well, most of the blame is on the defense coordinator for this season. Oh, the blame shifts to the offensive coordinator this season. They still have a winning record, so it's not Tomlin's fault. He's the fucking one who hired them in the first place, you idiot.
Right.
Oh my goodness, he's just such a bad coach. And then,
Right.
mind you, his record when we're losing at halftime is like 13 wins, almost 40 losses, and a tie. He cannot adjust to save his fucking life. He cannot do it. And then when it comes down to crunch time, he is arguably top 5 in terms of worst coaches when it comes to clock management. He's horrible at it. And then his use of the challenge flag makes me want to blow my brains out.
Yeah.
So
The playing not to lose strategy is tough to watch.
Yeah.
it's been like that since Big Ben came in with bad legs and bad arms, dude, after that season-ending injury he had in 2019. Ben comes back in 2020. We're back to, all right, guys, try not to lose. What's
Yeah.
that going to do in the NFL, man? Nothing. So, yeah, I'm tired of it. And I'm glad that a lot of fans are starting to notice that this is a Tomlin problem.
Yep. And Xander, you will be at that game in New England this week. So we
I already
expect.
have us losing.
I
So,
will
Yeah.
be too. I will be too. I'll be in
Oh, wow.
attendance.
Actually?
Yeah, I will be.
Wow. Well, that'll be interesting.
go.
We'll get some in-person perspective from you guys.
Oh, hell yeah.
Moving forward, I'm not going to talk about the Rams and Titans game. I do like what I saw out of Cam Ward, but obviously I think all of us expected the Rams to go ahead and win that game.
Yeah.
Um, we'll just take a quick pit stop on the Bills game. I don't want to talk about it for too long. The
Mhm.
only thing I wanted to bring up about that is, yes, we were worried about the Bills defense. I was worried about the Bills defense. And yes, it's the New York Jets and Justin Fields, but they went out and won a game that they're supposed to win, and they did it in dominant fashion. And they didn't have to rely on Josh Allen to be the hero in that game. James Cook ran for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the defense played well. Joey Bosa, new addition. I was very upset with him after last week. He comes in and forces 2 fumbles in that game.
Put a tight end on me.
Yeah, that was funny. That was hilarious. Um, so that was just my quick thoughts on that. Bills go and get the job done. Patriots and Dolphins was an interesting one. Um, I really thought that the Dolphins had a good shot to win this game, and they did. But Drake May has an awesome day back there, and then those 2 back-to-back returns was an insane sequence to have the Dolphins rush theirs back with Washington, and then Antonio Gibson, I believe it was, on the return for the Patriots. Was it Antonio Gibson? Is
Yes,
that
it
who?
was. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then the Dolphins lose by a foot being out of bounds on that Devon Achane um, catch and run. Guys, I don't know. I don't really have much to say about this game. It was a close divisional matchup. Tua once again kind of had some issues with the turnover there. That honestly, if he didn't throw that, they probably go and win the game. The Patriots kicker was terrible. Apart from that one field goal that he made, the long field goal, and not even just on the field goals, but on that kickoff where he lands it inside or outside of the landing zone that gives the Dolphins a chance to go down and win. And they would have if Devon Achane hadn't stepped out of bounds. Logan, you're a Patriots fan. If you just want to give your quick thoughts.
Yeah, man, I watched the entire game. It was one of the most exciting Patriots games I've watched in the last couple years. That being said, I thought the Patriots were going to win the game. It was definitely exciting. New England was in position to win the game, and then Miami strikes right back, and then Miami's in position to win the game, and then New England strikes back, and they're in position to win the game. And next thing you know, Miami's about to score, and like you said, Achane steps out. So it was very exciting. If you're a New England fan or Miami fan, it's very exciting. But Miami's got problems. The body language on the sideline is very noticeable for Miami, just with how they trust Mike McDaniel. And just the situation in Miami, I just don't think it's very good right now. And on the Patriots side, defense, it's shaky just because Christian Gonzalez is out. He has a hamstring injury. You can't really expect someone to come back quick like that with a hamstring. I dealt with one during track season, and as soon as I felt good enough, I go out and I would try to long jump and I'd pull it again, and it was just a repeated thing. So like hamstrings are no, they're not fun. You know, I've had a lot of teammates who have also dealt with them, and it's just one of the worst injuries in terms of like you don't know when you're fully healthy. It's hard to gauge when you're fully 100%. But he's needed on the defense. We saw a couple plays that, Tyreek Hill underthrow on a fade route, underthrown by 10 yards by Tua, and, the defense got caught with the backs to the throw and didn't try to track the ball. So it's the secondary is a question, especially with our pass rush. Not really. It's like a C plus pass rush. So we got to get the secondary. We got to get Gonzalez back. I like the offense. I want to see the run game get going more, but yeah.
Bengals Jaguars was nothing terrific outside of Joe Burrow going down with the turf toe injury, and he's going to miss what they believe to be 3 months. Absolutely devastating for the Bengals. Joe Burrow just can't seem to beat this injury bug. 49ers and
Well,
Saints,
I want to go back to that Bengals one because I have some things to say there.
reel it in.
Don't underestimate Jake Browning. That dude is a dog for a backup. We've seen him torch the Vikings. We've seen him torch the Jaguars not once but twice. He's helped them in some games, so I think they could still float around 500 under Browning. He could definitely string along some wins here and there. And then going off of Joe Burrow, he's a 2020 draft pick. We're in 2025 now, and he's already top five QB in the league. Some days he's top three. And since 2020, you have yet to stabilize your offensive line for the
100%.
potential face of the league. What
Unreal.
the hell are you doing in the front office of Cincinnati? Now your fans are
$70 million for wide receivers.
exactly. Now your fans are calling for your head. What are you gonna do, dude? Joe Burrow is probably gonna try and force his way out if this keeps up. He doesn't have a defense. He doesn't have an offensive line. The only thing saving his career right now is having T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Other than that, that front office is fucking failing him. And I'm a Steelers fan. I want that kid to fucking succeed.
Yeah.
And he's not getting that treatment over there in Cincinnati. They're failing him, man. They are absolutely failing him. And it reminds me a little bit of what New Orleans did with Drew Brees for a little bit, towards the later part of his years, where they just didn't surround him with a defense. And then when they did surround him with a defense, didn't really have an offense. But they got a ring out of Drew Brees. So this genuinely might be worse than that.
Yeah, and I think it is. And the front office has been notoriously the last few years the worst in football, in my opinion. One of the worst in football, if not the worst. Um, if I'm correct, I'm pretty sure that Joe Burrow was advocating for keeping T. Higgins as well.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him for that. But when T. Higgins is demanding, what did his contract come out to? He's getting 30 million a year, something like that, while Chase is making 40 or 41. That's a problem. You need to be able to let a guy like T. Higgins go. He could be a wide receiver one in a lot of other places right now. You have solid guys that can still catch the football, or you could use that money to go out and get guys that you're not going to have to spend as much money on, or maybe a defense or an offensive line that's suitable for a quarterback who's making $55 million a year.
Mhm.
But you're right; they're absolutely failing him. They are going to be lucky if Joe Burrow is there in 2 years. They're going to be lucky if he's there next year, in my opinion, because he's just been consistently suffering injuries, and a lot of it comes from how bad his offensive line is. Logan, you got anything? You're good to move on.
I'm good.
Good. All right. 49ers Saints, again, nothing incredible except for Mac Jones goes out and has a pretty good day as the backup, leads the 49ers to a 26-21 win over.
Does that kind of prove that Brock Purdy is
I think you have to have that conversation, but we'll see. I feel like if Brock Purdy's there, they probably win by more. But
And not only that, I mean, it's against the Saints too. You
Yes.
kind of,
I mean, we've seen the Saints claw this year. We've seen them have a tough showing in two
They gave
weeks.
the Cardinals a real good run, one
Right,
score
yeah.
game
That
last
that was
week.
not that comfortable. Cardinals were never really comfortable in that game.
Yep.
no, but Cardinals also don't have the
It
offense quite like San Fran.
but I agree. It is the Saints, but the way they've been playing this year, they've got some bite to them. But Spencer Rattler,
He's
Mister
playing
Mister
all right.
L, Mister
Yeah.
L.
You look good.
He's
No,
playing
but
all right.
think about how many games he's won.
Not a lot.
Zero. Yeah. Well, I think that also has a lot to do with what he has around him, but we also can discuss that another day. Ravens and Browns, nothing crazy there either. You expect that. It was a
At
little
what
bit
point do
close.
you bench Joe Flacco?
Do you want
Not
to give
versus
Dylan
Baltimore.
Gabriel the ball? Do you
I'm,
want to give Shador
dude,
Sanders the ball?
your offense has looked like shit the first 2 weeks of the season. I'm putting Dylan Gabriel in there. Spark a little bit of momentum for the
Yeah,
offense.
but what happens? But what happens if Dylan Gabriel doesn't do good? Do you bench him and then go to Shador because you can't go back to Dylan? You can't go
Well, because
back. You
in
can't
week
go
two,
back to Joe
you
Flacco.
can't just be throwing in the
Right,
towel already.
right. You can't. You can't be going
Dog,
back
if
and
I'm
forth
a
because once you
Browns
bench
fan, the
him,
panic meter is already at a
you.
7.
Hey, before we get to Minnesota, like there was a situation I saw. I don't want to say it because it could be fake, but I did see a report on Instagram, and I'm like 79% sure it's true. But JJ said on the sideline, Kevin O'Connell was about to bench JJ, and Justin Jefferson was basically telling him, no, 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 if you take him out now, you're basically cutting his career short. So, like, that's I feel like the players kind of feel the same way. Like, if you're taking him out now, like, what are you telling him? Like, he's supposed to be our leader. He's supposed to be our guy.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense too, because going back to being a Steelers fan, when Big Ben went down with that season-ending injury in 2020, we put in or 2019, we put in Mason Rudolph, who had some pretty good games off the rip, and then he just started sucking. He threw 3 interceptions against the Browns, and he was throwing some interceptions more frequently, and then they go out and bench him. I'm like, this kid's a rookie. You're benching him over the last because of his performance the last 2 or 3 games. Now you're just killing his confidence. And then we put in Duck Hodges, who played great, and then we benched Duck Hodges like 3 or 4 games after that. Put Mason back in, and by that point, bridge is already burned. Mason isn't going to get his confidence back. And then same thing happened with Kenny Pickett. We benched Mason, or we benched Trubisky, put in Pickett, and then we bench Pickett later that season.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, and Mac Jones. It's you can't be taking out these rookie quarterbacks just because of a few bad games. Like that's expected out of some rookie quarterbacks. You're just killing their confidence, and because of that, their NFL career is going to be short-lived. So that was well said by Justin Jefferson.
Yep. Very much agree with that. Regardless, Ravens come away with an expected huge win, 41-17. The Lions battle back, and I think Dan Campbell just kind of shows the middle finger to the league for everyone thinking that they're not going to be so good this year. They beat the Bears 52-21. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 3 touchdowns. Thank you for my 40 fantasy points. Continuing on, the Colts come away with a 29-28 win over the Broncos. And the Broncos had this one locked up after a missed field goal from the kicker for the Colts. What's his name? Who is it that they got there?
Rashard or something like that.
Yeah. He misses the kick
Something.
initially from 50 or 60 yards, 60 yards, very wide to the right. And there's a leverage call, a penalty we almost
I
never
don't agree with it,
see
man.
in the NFL. I don't know. When you
I
look at
don't
the
know,
video,
man.
he certainly puts his hands on the
But
center.
it wasn't that aggressive.
It wasn't that aggressive. But
I'm not gonna
regardless,
argue
that
with you.
moves it up to a 45-yard field goal off the 15-yard penalty. And he nails that one. And the Colts go to 2-0. Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones looking real good so far this season, putting up good numbers. Um, Colts are that one of those
You
surprising teams.
Hater.
you were the only one who picked Indianapolis. Me and Xander both picked Denver, and you had
And we'll get to
Indianapolis.
that because I saw my record and damn, I know ball. Um,
Spencer Schrader, that's the Colts kicker, not Richard
Oh,
or
right. Yep.
yeah.
So good on Danny Dimes. Panthers, another shit performance against the Cardinals from Bryce Young, who
Hmm.
made up for his called back pick six last week with one in this game. And guys, just what are we seeing out of Bryce Young so
Yeah, so
far?
I actually while you were out, Max, I was watching the last few minutes of that game. And I was checking in on the score. It was like 27-9 Arizona. And then I was like, fuck, dude, what? The Carolina just looks bad. And then it's 27-15. I'm like, okay, they're getting some garbage time touchdowns, trying to boost the team morale. And then they score another touchdown with under 2 minutes remaining. Now it's 27-22. I'm like, hold up, we have a game here. And then they get the ball back. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? Carolina has a chance to actually win this game down 27-9 in the fourth. That's crazy. And that entire drive, it was just mistake after mistake. I think I saw, geez, man, 9 penalties on that one drive by Arizona's defense or the Carolina's offensive line. I'm like, what is happening? But what stuck out to me the most, that entire drive, Bryce Young gets the snap and he is already being pressured by Arizona's defensive line. He had zero chance to make a throw. He had to scramble out as soon as he got the ball, and I'm sitting there watching these plays unravel, and I'm like, holy shit. Carolina's offensive line is bar none the worst in the league. They are giving this kid zero time to throw. I don't care if he's not a good quarterback or not. He
And they
needs
should be that bad. On paper, they're not that
exactly.
bad.
Exactly. Like that O-line needs to toughen up, give the kid some breathing room, let him have some seconds in the pocket, find his read or scan the field if his first option's not open. He's not getting that at all. It was insane how bad that O-line is. It was
Yeah, and he throws. I guess it was a little bit harsh. He did have 328 yards, three touchdowns, and then that one interception. Um, I didn't know much about the final drive there. I didn't know that they made a comeback in the fourth quarter, but I was thinking maybe garbage time. But I feel like you're in this game if you don't throw that pick. You've got to play 60 minutes of football.
Mhm.
Um, and I give him credit for coming back with that team and with the offensive line that he has and making it a close game against the Cardinals. But I'd love to see more out of him than what we have the last 2 weeks. And I also think that this says a little bit about the Cardinals, considering now that they've played the Saints and the Panthers, two of the consensus worst teams in the league the last few weeks or the last year. And they make this one a close game too. They were not comfortable in this one either. Or at least when they did feel comfortable, they laid off the gas quite a bit and
Oh yeah.
allowed Carolina to have 13 points in the fourth quarter and almost come back and win that one. Moving on to the Eagles and Chiefs, this was supposed to be game of the week, and it was not as much of a high scoring game as you might have thought after that Super Bowl by either side. But the Eagles do come away with a 20-17 win, and it's in a game where Jalen Hurts basically does nothing. He has 101 yards. Did he even score a rushing touchdown? Yes, he had a rushing touchdown in this one. So, um, I might have missed that one. Was that a tush push play at the
Hmm.
one? Yeah, it was. So essentially, Jalen Hurts really didn't have to do much in this game at all. Saquon Barkley didn't even reach 100 yards, which after last year, all of us are like, damn, like that's a bad game for him. But it's not. He still put up 88 yards and he scored a touchdown. Uh, but I think the defense played very well for the Eagles in this one, kind of limiting Mahomes and especially Travis Kelce, who, while he did lead the team in receptions or sorry, not receptions, in yards with 61, he kind of had a rough day out there. He had an easy touchdown in his hands, and people will argue it was thrown a little bit in front of him, but he should have caught that ball. Instead, it bounces off his hands and lands in the hands of a Eagles defender and is taken back on a return. And the Chiefs are now 0-2 for the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era. and they go ahead and they're going to be facing the Ravens this week. This is a rough outlook for the Chiefs so far.
I think no, they're facing the Giants.
They're facing the Giants. I thought that Lamar was going there this week.
No, it's
Sunday night
Baltimore,
football.
Detroit Monday night.
Yeah.
Okay.
But nonetheless, like Kansas City, man, they're in trouble. They have no weapons on offense. We got people, sports analysts on Sunday morning telling us that the Chiefs offense is going to be fine with Hollywood Brown as their starting receiver. You know what that tells me? Pat Mahomes is going to be scrambling for his life all day for like 60 minutes. He's just going to be running for his life, and that's exactly what we saw. And I'm disappointed in the Eagles too, man. Like Saquon 88 yards and AJ Brown 35 yards in 2 weeks. Jalen Hurts 100 yards. Like you're not proving anything offensively, and the Chiefs have proven that they've taken a step back offensively and defensively, and the injuries have hurt them, especially on offense. But you know, if you're Philadelphia, man, you're kind of expecting more. I was kind of expecting a beatdown. I know the line was close and kind of predicted a close game, but I thought Philly was going to handle business. They did, but th- I'm I'm not really happy with like what I'm seeing on the stat sheet. I don't know if that's sustainable.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, the reality is they go out and win the game, and that's what great teams do, even against the great teams and the great
Good
players like
point.
Patrick Mahomes.
Find a
Uh,
way.
so regardless, they are 2-0, and they will remain at the top of the NFL's power rankings list until they lose a game. Um, so reigning Super Bowl champs 0-2. Going forward, another game that I think we should just talk about real briefly is the Falcons and Vikings. You got basically a quarterback rematch of the 2023, was it 2023 or 2022 national championship game.
2023.
And yeah, and Penix and McCarthy. And Penix goes out and has a decent day, 135 yards. He didn't throw a score, but he remained with no turnovers, so good for him. Bijan Robinson's the story of that game, though. 143 yards on the ground. Absolutely crazy from him. Tack on another 25 yards receiving. And then 76 yards from Tyler Algier. So the Minnesota defense in that defensive line that we really thought was one of the best in football, and I still will say I think at least on paper should be one of the best ones in football, gives up a shit ton of yards to a Falcons team with a really good run game, but I really was expecting more out of the Vikings, and especially on the offensive side of the ball after McCarthy had the performance that he had in that Bears game, coming back and winning that one, 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. He goes out this week and throws for less than 160, no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And to be honest, guys, just looked horrible.
Yeah, I mean, both defenses played honestly out of their mind. I mean, Minnesota's defense, although giving up a lot of rushing yards to Bijan's gonna do that to any team he wants to, if we're being serious right now. But Minnesota, they held their own in the passing game. What I loved about Penix, and Chris Collinsworth mentioned this several times throughout the game, is how quick he got that ball off. He was getting the ball off in under 2 seconds. Looks over his first read, sees they're open, boom, dump it off. That's what you want for your NFL quarterback. I mean, Peyton Manning was mythical with that shit, getting the ball off in less than 2 seconds. So the fact that Penix is doing that with very little games under his belt in the NFL is something worth noting. Um, Obviously, JJ McCarthy did not look good at all, but that's just creds to Atlanta's defense too. They really stepped it up from last week, giving up 23 to Tampa, and now you play Minnesota and you only give up 6 points. Have a fucking day, defense. I mean, they were giving McCarthy hell all night long. And then obviously I do want to touch up on Bijan. Raheem Morris stated after that game against Tampa, we need to install our will in the run game. And
Right.
during practice all week, it's clear as day that's what they were doing during practice is getting back to their formula, getting Bijan his holes and letting him just be that dog, be that guy, let him loose and have fun. And he had his way against Minnesota. And Raheem Morris said what they were going to do. They were going to run the ball and they were going to do it effectively.
Yeah. I think that Minnesota, they've got to play better offensively going forward. Aaron Jones is going to be on IR, is what I heard. So Jordan Mason's going to have to step up here. He seemed to be the number one back anyway for the last two games. The rushing attack was not there for Minnesota either. Jordan Mason had 30 yards. That was the leading rusher on the team,
They
followed
need to
by
play my guy Xavier Scott. Put him in the game.
yeah, right.
Third
So,
string running back. Throw him in.
yeah.
Let's go.
So that caps off that game. And then we got two more games to talk about, but the one I think we're really going to spend the time on here is Buccaneers Texans. And man, what a showing that was for us on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
20-19, the Buccaneers come away with a win. And with not much time left, it was very defensive in the second half.
Yeah.
We did not see a whole lot of offense in that second half until the final 5 minutes of the game where who was it? I believe Nick Chubb ran for a 24-yard scram or 24-yard run for a touchdown. Good on him because their rushing attack wasn't really doing much all night. He led the team with 43 yards and 25 of it came off of that run. But honestly, I think he shouldn't have scored. You got to run that time down. Do you know who's on the other side of that field? Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, oh my God, what a dog he is. Comes out after that score, gets knocked down on the rush. 4th and 10, he takes off, gets knocked down, appears to be injured, immediately grabs his leg, and then Gardner Johnson sitting there over him. He fucking locks in, stands up, gets in his face, starts jaw-jacking with him, and then proceeds to lead the team down for the game-winning score. Just super impressed with Baker Mayfield this year. I think we didn't have any other expectation other than that after the way he's played the last 2 years. Baker has been so awesome, and it's honestly sad to think that the Carolina Panthers had him, and while their team wasn't that good, they were so unconfident in him that they threw him in for defensive end reps to get other guys practice, to give the inferior offensive linemen practice guarding against a defensive end. So super disrespectful. We know Baker's story. He's earning his money right now. And honestly, I think if he plays like this, he gets a much bigger extension than what he has.
Oh yeah.
He's the
I mean,
clutchest quarterback in the NFL. Go ahead.
So far.
He's one of them for sure. I mean, he is,
Yeah.
in my opinion, top 3, top 4 in terms of clutchest QB in the league. Quickly up in the ranks. And I mean, it is insane how Cleveland just put a bunch of blame on Baker. Oh, Baker Mayfield lost the locker room. What if he didn't? What if he didn't lose the locker room? What if it was just the team in general? What if the team lost Baker Mayfield? That's what we're seeing. The team lost Baker Mayfield. You send him off to Carolina. Carolina has no faith in him because, oh, Cleveland's painting Baker to be the bad guy. Carolina ships him off to the Rams. What does he do like a day or two later? 99-yard game-winning drive. And now he signs with the Bucks because of that one drive, and he has been a top 5, top 6 quarterback in the league ever since. So Baker's always been that guy. He's been that guy since his Oklahoma days. And I am so happy he's thriving, man, because he deserves every penny. He deserves every win. That dude is a leader through and through. He's willing to sacrifice his body to get those wins.
He does. And that's where I was going next. Is this guy will stay on the field regardless of what's going on.
He reminds me a lot of Matthew Stafford.
Yes. I think he probably was hurt on that play. I think he definitely was hurt and is probably getting iced up real well this week. Because that hit that he took was very awkward on the fall. But it doesn't matter. He knows what's on the line. He knows he's the guy in charge of that team. And he's going to go out and put his ass on the line. And he did, and it paid off. A 1-point win over the Houston Texans, who now fall to 0-2, a team that we thought probably was going to win the AFC South. And so far, not off to a good start for them. Baker Mayfield, like you said, one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the league. I enjoy watching him. The Buccaneers are a great team, and they're going to have a real good season if Baker Mayfield continues to play like that. Then last but not least, the Chargers over the Raiders, 20-9. Didn't really expect a whole lot from that. Geno Smith, I maybe expected to play a little bit better.
Mm.
But yeah. Anyway, Logan, I think if we're all done talking about these games for the week, we should move into week 3. I'll let you take that away.